Welcome back to episode 6 of Underrated. And the album I want to talk about today with you is by a band called Dredg, and the album is called Catch Without Arms. So this album is quite different to any of the others that I've covered in this series, or on this channel for that matter. It's not the typical mindless, aggressive stuff that I usually go for. And that's kind of why I wanted to cover this one, just to mix it up a bit. This is a lot more kind of normie music, I would say. Somewhere in the region of kind of Deftones, but a little more ethereal and pretty. Someone once compared them to Manic Street Preachers as well, who I do know, but not terribly well, so you can let me know if you see any similarity. But this album came out in 2005, which is actually, by coincidence, the same as the last album that I covered came out in 2005. Two very, very different albums, though. Holy crap. A couple of drinks midday. It does get heavy, but it's not abrasive heavy. It's like in the similar way with Deftones, where it like washes over you and it's just a really like comforting wave of sound that comes over you. Really atmospheric, really dynamic. Dredg, they've sort of come and gone over the years. Apparently they've got back together and are planning a new album this year or something, I don't know. They do have a few albums, but this one, Catch Without Arms, and the previous one, El Cielo, are by far my favourites. And it was kind of a toss-up between this one and the previous one, but I got back into this album a little bit this year because some of the songs, one song in particular, became very meaningful for me this year. I'd like to share that song with you now.
I looked to the sky, saw my body die. I found my I'm not inside you. Is this what you needed to end love?
You're probably surprised by me even covering something that sounds like this, but I do have a fairly varied taste in music, and this will exemplify that. This album has been following me around in my life since probably about 2005, maybe a little bit later, and it was introduced to me by a friend of mine, Dan, many years ago. If you're watching this, Dan, hi, but I doubt it very much, he's a busy boy. And he and I had very different tastes in music. We also meshed on certain kinds of music as well. This, when I first heard it, I didn't really think that much of it. And then I started listening to it on my own time, because it was sort of earwormy and it got stuck in my head, some of it. Over time, I decided, actually, this is really, really good. I have asked so many people over the years, hey, have you ever heard of Dredg? And they have no idea what I'm talking about. And then I show it to them and they go, wow, this is really good. This is why I wanted to include them in this series, because I cannot for the life of me understand why this particular band never got massive. A lot of the previous ones I've covered, it makes sense, you know, the very shouty, screamy, angry music, you know, not for the average music listener, let's say. But this, I can't really see anyone having a problem with this music. As you know, I'm not much of a lyric guy, but I have dived into the lyrics in this album, and they're very poetic and metaphorical. You have to really kind of think about what he's actually saying, and sometimes it's very unclear. But that sometimes can lead to you coming up with your own significance for what it means to you. I quite like that sometimes. It's like the complete opposite of Rage Against the Machine, for example, where he's telling you to your face what he's saying. But this is so poetic. It's like a poetry book turned into very pretty alternative progressive rock, basically, is what it sounds like to me. So the one big-ish single that this album had and had a music video, which I'll have put at the beginning, was Bug Eyes. On occasion, I have shown people that one song, and they go, "Oh yeah, I know this song," but most people don't. I cannot understand it. I can't understand why this music would not have mass market appeal, you know? Particularly at the time when it came out. It's not new metal. In a time when new metal was very much out by 2005, no one was listening to that anymore. Well, maybe some of us. It wasn't in the popular zeitgeist anymore. Indie rock very much was, and this isn't indie rock, but it sort of fits in with what was popular in rock at the time, I think.
Nothing feels right, nothing ever goes my way.
This album is one of those where I'm never going to listen to this in the gym, but there are certain times I'm in a certain mood where this album fits perfectly. There's a few albums like that I don't listen to often, but I'm feeling a certain way and I want this specific sound and nothing else. This is one of those albums.
You'd expect to say now, wouldn't you?
So the song Not That Simple is a pretty good example of how this album is, because it starts off really floaty and melodic and kind of dreamlike. The chorus kicks in with the heavy lead guitar. It's heavy, it's intense, and it smashes into you like I said, like a wall of sound basically, but it's not abrasive. It's not going to get you pumped to go for a run or anything. I don't know, maybe it could. I don't know. It wouldn't for me. Like I said, going along that sort of Deftones vein where it's intense, but a more like emotional kind of intense, an emotional melancholy. That's actually the one-word summary that I would give this album is melancholy. Because it really makes you feel nice when you listen to it. Songs like Sangreal that doesn't really have any heavy guitar at all.
Lawyer in the tower, I'm the body with the corner, no the leader with all.
It's kind of got a hip-hop beat going all the way through it, and it's kind of flat all the way through, so there is a lot of variety of song structure on here, which I do really, really like. If it was just the same big guitar during the chorus every time, it would get a bit tiresome, but it's not like that. The song Spit Shine. For some reason, some inexplicable reason, reminds me of when I was a kid.
While the chorus yelled, unity, it's based on.
It makes me feel that kind of wonder of the world. Like the wonder of not knowing what's going to come tomorrow or next week. And like, what am I going to learn today in school? Like that kind of feeling. It's really weird because this came out in 2005. I was way out of school by 2005. But it puts, again, similar with Deftones, this album puts images in my head all the time. Whether it's like rolling waves or a view over a misty mountain or something, you know, that kind of thing. And Spitshine, for whatever reason, I picture my primary school in the UK when I was 6 or 7. And seeing like the actual school, like the building and the playground area thing and the drive up to the school. It's weird. I don't know why it has that effect on me, but if it has that effect on me in that inexplicable way, then if you listen to this album, perhaps you'll have the same experience where the song Not That Simple conjures up images of your childhood or particular times in your life. I don't know. This is a very nostalgic album for me. Incredibly so. It's the melodies and the effects on the guitar and stuff. It evokes memory. And because I've been listening to it for nearly 20 years, there's lots of different points in my life in the past that it reminds me of. based on the fact that I listened to it then, right? But I would have never listened to this in my primary school. It didn't exist then. This is just the magic of music. Like it can put things in your mind that don't belong there. That came out wrong. It can put images in your head unlike any other medium. And this song, while it's not heavy, it's not brutal, it's not mosh pit music, it's not get sweaty energy kind of music at all. It's on the opposite end of what I enjoy about music, where it makes me think of things. I keep referring to Deftones, but there's reasons why. With Deftones, I'll shut my eyes when I'm listening to it, depending on what I'm doing. If I'm cycling or something, probably not the best idea. Sometimes to get the full effect of it, it's good to just close your eyes, listen to the music, and just absorb it that way. Some music's not good to do that with, but this album is very much like that. It's very ethereal and dreamlike, and very, very pretty.
You're feeling lost in here, she said.
This is probably the prettiest album I've spoken about on this channel, bar maybe one or two, and I mentioned those specifically because they were unlike anything else I've mentioned on this channel. I had to talk about this album for this series, and I was kind of doubting myself whether to include this one because it is so different to everything else that I've covered, and maybe some of you will be like, why the hell is he talking about this hippie... I don't know where I was going with that. Why is he talking about this mellow stuff? Like, where's the heavy stuff, you know? But and maybe you're not into it because of that. Fine, no, not a problem. But I implore you, as a music lover, which I assume you are if you're, watching my videos, to listen to Catch Without Arms by Dredg. If you get like 4 songs in and you don't like any of it at all, then turn it off, because by that point you'll know if you like it or not. But if you've enjoyed the clips I've put in this video, you gotta check it out. I don't feel that any little short snippets that I could insert into this video will do any of these songs justice, because it's the progression of them that really sells it for me. It starts off really small, and then it gets bigger, and then it kind of dies down a bit, and then it gets even bigger still. There's lots of crescendos, there's lots of emotional release in these songs. Again, not characteristic of stuff I usually cover, but it's so good. It's flawless, actually. The production's really good, and one thing that I neglected to mention is one thing that makes this band a little bit unique is the vocalist. He plays a lap guitar thing. I'll put a picture of it here, or actually, better still, I'll put a video of him here playing it. That gives the band a very distinct sound. Because can you tell me any other bands that use an instrument like that? And it's incorporated in such a way, it's like layered in with the proper guitar and stuff. That's, I think, partly what gives it its dreamlike quality and sets this band aside from other contemporaries. So I hope you've enjoyed this little introduction to Dredg and this album. And like I say, if you like this album, I would strongly recommend El Cielo, the album that came out in 2002. Both is good. Like I said, it was a 50-50 coin flip of which of these I was going to do, and it ended up being this one just because I've been listening to it recently. If you know Dredg, do hit me up, because as I said, not many people do. For some reason, I think they're worth your time. I think they're worth everyone's time, for that matter. So all that's left for me to say is, if you are already subscribed, then thank you for being here. And if you're new, then consider subscribing. I do this a lot. You can support me on Buy Me a Coffee, if you feel like it. All that I can say now is that I've still not thought of how to end videos yet, so I'm just going to say, go away.